the information session about the Trinity Buoy Wharf Drawing Prize Working Drawing Award, which is a special category within the within the drawing prize overall. On screen, you can see an image of the exhibition in 2024 installed at Trinity Buoy Wharf, and that's a shot of the overall drawing exhibition. The drawing prize has two calls for entry. So it has the call that's already closed, which is the call for the main Trinity Buoy Wharf Drawing Prize, which is a physical submission and a physical selection process. So all done in situ in London with 3 selectors. And the selection for that has taken place. But we've separated the call for entries this year for the Trinity Buoy Wharf Working Drawing Award, which has a digital online submission and a separate panel of selectors. It's an award, so that's why you've got the 2 posters sitting there. To give you a little bit of history about the project, the drawing prize is supported by the Trinity Buoy Wharf Trust, and Trinity Buoy Wharf is a historic heritage quarter in London, which is a cultural quarter, and that's why the drawing prize has that name. And it's led by me as the founding director. The very first iteration of the exhibition and open call for entries took place in 1994 when it was the Wrexham Derwent Open Drawing Exhibition, and then from 1996 to 2000 became the Cheltenham Open Drawing Exhibition, supported by a number of benefactors and donors and grants. And then it became known as the Jerwood Drawing Prize for 17 years, with significant support from the Jerwood Foundation until 2017. So the Trinity Buoy Wharf Trust became the principal benefactor or funding support for the exhibition in 2018. So we're now in our 7th year of delivery, if not, yes, 8. It's probably the 8th year of delivery. And we're delighted to work with them. The images on the side are some of the selection panels coming together to talk about the work submitted. So the drawing prize was established in '94. Our aim overall is to promote talent and excellence in contemporary drawing through the annual open exhibition, and thereby to promote the discipline of drawing, present an exhibition of current drawing and associated exhibitions and programs, and provide a forum to gain knowledge and understanding about drawing and practitioners working in the field around that. So our aim is to situate that discourse of how drawing is defined and used within the educational context and wider context of art and design higher education, but way beyond into a broader field. So we're just beginning for anyone who's just joined, so it's just the introductory part. The Working Drawing Award itself is a dedicated award which aims to promote, encourage, and facilitate our understanding around the role of working drawings within the areas and disciplines, the fields of inquiry or endeavour where it's used. So within architecture or design or making, planning, and in ideation processes. That's not a definitive list, but those are the kind of areas that it's used within. There is a size limit this year that we've included so that we're thinking about how we talk to the role of working drawings and how do we present them and in the way that working drawings are used within the various processes of making and production. So we're thinking about drawings that might communicate an idea, might deliver the plans or information to someone who's going to fabricate it or build it or construct it, and thinking about how that process of a drawing and that process of thinking through drawing is used and presented to others. It's a special display and it will launch alongside the overall exhibition in London, and then it will tour alongside it until up to summer 2026. It has its own dedicated submission process, selection panel, and there is a financial award of £2,000 available to the working drawings selected by the selection panel, who are independent, to reward and recognise excellence within working drawings and their practice. There will also be, no doubt, commendations, as there have been in previous years. The images on the left of the slide show two of the working drawing displays. You can see on the top image, it presented alongside the main show, and on the bottom image, you can see a cut through to look at the show in 2024. The deadline for the Working Drawing Award is the 17th of July, so it's on Thursday at 5 o'clock. So this is an opportunity for anyone to ask any questions you may have, and it's a digital online submission. So you need to have photographs and things to upload, as well as the detail and data about your work. So here's an image of Trinity Buoy Wharf with everyone arriving for the launch of the whole exhibition and the awards announcements. It's a big moment, and as you can see, Trinity Buoy Wharf literally has been a working area of London. It's the last lighthouse left on London. It's on the space where the River Thames joins the River Lee. It's a working site. It has lots of creative workspaces. It has the ENO workshops there, the English National Opera workshops. It's also where the Uber boats come through, so it has lots of things to do with boats and all sorts of other things as a creative quarter. So you've already seen this image, so we encourage people through the exhibitions to engage with the drawings that are selected, to think about what they mean and how we carry information through a drawn language to convey to others, whether that's as a means of communication, expression, ideation, sharing, planning, preparation, all of the things that drawing can encompass. And the whole project is about sharing that as a dialogue, both initially with the selection panel, but then with an audience, and that audience may include professionals as much as it includes a public audience and educators. So the selectors for the Working Drawing Award are Pablo Garcia, and Pablo Garcia is an associate professor in contemporary practices at the School of Art Institute in Chicago. Pablo is trained as an architect, and he also has a big research project around drawing machines and drawing technology. So we think that Pablo is going to be a fantastic selector to work with us, interested to see and understand the role of working drawings in contemporary practices in whatever discipline. We have Kieran Long, who is currently the director of Amos Rex in Helsinki, which is a contemporary art museum. Kieran is also a selector for the main award, so that we're thinking about how these two selection processes and outcomes of the selection processes relate to each other through the lens of a common denominator as a selector. Kieran is a well-established journalist writing for architecture design as well as contemporary art, and his previous role was as director of ArchDes in Sweden, which is the Architectural Design Museum, and also as a curator, senior curator at the V&A in London, working again with architecture and design. So Kieran brings huge expertise, both in thinking about, writing about, curating, and sharing as a resource drawings in this context. And then we have a third selector who is an architect and a past president of the Royal Institute of British Architects, Sunand Prasad, who's a principal currently with Perkins and Will, which is an architecture company in London. And I don't have an image on the screen, but I'm going to convene this panel so that we ensure that we have a balance of diversity across the panel, and so that we also have that dialogue again across the other selection panel. In order to submit to the Working Drawing Award, there is a dedicated portal. We call it an entry portal, but it's on the ArtOps website, which are all the opportunities for people to submit to open call exhibitions and opportunities. An open call literally means that it's open internationally to anyone who believes they've got drawings that are working drawings and drawings that they want to present to the panel as being distinguished in terms of their working drawing panels, working drawings, and to engage in that dialogue through this process. So it's the portal has the information, it has the rules and guidelines, which broadly we've just run through. We don't necessarily expect work to be framed for this award. What we do anticipate is that you'll submit digital images, and what I would recommend is that you take good photographs in good light. They can be taken on an iPhone, they can be scanned if they're the right size, but making sure that the image represents the drawings that you're making, because they're sometimes quite hard to photograph, so that the panel can see them clearly. They will all meet together online to review these images, which we see as being similar to the process, actually, of how working drawings might well be used in the current context, supplemented by dialogue, discussion, and seeing them in the real. So the process is that you can submit up to 3 drawings via that online entry portal. The drawings must be registered with the digital images uploaded by 5 o'clock on Thursday, the 17th of July. There's 1 entry fee for the Working Drawing Award, and there is a student discounted fee. So you put all your drawings in for a £20 fee that contributes to the administrative element of things, and ensures that we know what we're expecting in terms of the drawings coming in, and the student fee is discounted to £15. The selection panel will see all of the work submitted. They will select a display of working drawings from the online submission, which they'll do collectively, and all of the works are viewed anonymously and selected on the basis of the merit of their visual presentation alone, so their visual nature in terms of being a working drawing. And we will then let everybody know by the end of the 25th of July. I'm just looking at that, it may actually be early the following week, because I think the panel are coming together on the 25th. So the selected drawings are then, if their drawing is selected, they're all to be delivered to Trinity Buoy Wharf in London. So they will come, we anticipate that the majority will maybe come in a tube or a parcel or in other ways and means. As I've said, it's a working drawing display. Working drawings don't necessarily need to wear a frame, but you might want to frame them to protect them. That's the purpose of framing. And then once they've come in, we will likely rephotograph them if we need to, in order to bring together the information for a publication. So we would then come back to each of the selected exhibitors who've had drawings selected in order to get biographical information and some further information about the award. You'll also see in the rules and guidelines that we might actually ask for something that illustrates how they're a working drawing. So it might be that we want to see an image of the finished thing. We haven't done that to date. It hasn't been felt to be needed, but that's an opportunity within it to share and promote. And what we're really looking for is excellence in working drawings in a contemporary way. So it's really about everybody helping us in the way that we've done with the bigger overall exhibition over 30-something years, to think about what's a working drawing today, how do you use drawings to articulate, develop ideas, to share and present how something may be made, how to plan and prepare for that. So we're really looking for that open dialogue around what a working drawing is today. And that's what we're looking for. But the practical things are, if you're selected, then needs to come to Trinity Buoy Wharf, where we'll manage the special display from those drawings. We'll gather together information for the publication, and we'll announce the award on Wednesday, the 8th of October, during the awards announcement. And the panel come together to do that in person to choose the actual award-winning drawing. I've put together some drawings that we have selected in the past, just a handful to enable you to think about what might be a working drawing, or to think about and it definitely isn't comprehensive, so there will be other things that might be working drawings, but I thought it might be useful to think about how and why these were determined as working drawings and in what context. So there's a drawing by Emma Douglas. This was the award-winning drawing last year. It's called Plan for Cato Mural. And as you can see from the drawing, it's I think 56 by 76 centimeters. And it's a drawing that maps and plots a mural that could be given to somebody else to fabricate. So it has a code which we can read around the color system, and it creates a kind of diary calendar which will be remade into a public mural, and the mural does exist. So this is the working it out and the sharing of that coding through the working it out for someone else to fabricate with, I assume, a bit more information around the colour as it shifts from watercolour to a paint material that can be outside. This is a drawing by Rosie Levington. It's a drawing working out the ideas around a public sculpture. It's called Brick and Void Cone, and it's a drawing that both has measurements, it has things around the colours, it has all sorts of things around the structure that's going to be fabricated and made. So again, a sculptor's drawing. So the first was an artist drawing, a sculptor's drawing towards making a sculpture. You can see on the bottom right, it's got the stamp of it going off into the fabricator's spaces. And again, this is a drawing that's currently on show in the 2024 exhibition. These drawings by Ben Johnson are studies where Tanya Kovacs, who was a selector one year, at the moment is thinking about what a working drawing was and called it working it out drawing. And I think there are working drawings which are very conventional to the architecture sense of a drawing that develops the idea, understands the practicality, the load bearing, the passage through a building. But there are also drawings that are the working it out for other things. And these drawings sit, Ben makes paintings, and these exquisite drawings handmade in ink, which are mapping and understanding different structures in architecture in order to re-render them for something else. And he works very closely with architects, but they're not drawings for architecture, they're drawings from architecture and convey something else through painting. Sarah Chowdhury's drawing again is called an Anwar working drawing, so very interested in Islamic pattern, and these then go to fabrication into two-dimensional spaces or into screens. So they could be cut out, they can then be translated into something that's laser cut. We have a drawing of hers in the show this year in the other award, which is a laser cut drawing, but this is a drawing for a screen that was commissioned. So it's the planning drawing for the design and how that will then be translated into a physical three-dimensional or three-dimensional, two-dimensional design. There are drawings that are working through ideas. This is by Sandy Horsley. So a drawing that's storyboarding, if you like, for an illustrated book. So it's working out the page layout, so the dynamic across the page layout, the narrative, the sequential nature of the story within this illustrated book. To an artist who's making tapestry, so a commission for the Cathedral of Beauvais, and Olga Kateva-Rochefort is making drawings in charcoal that then become translated into collage, creating a different kind of mass and tonal value, which are then translated into tapestry. So they're the kind of thing that would be given then to the tapestry studio to grade the wool for weaving and the way that would then be put together. So these are thinking it through drawings, planning for things and drawings that can be given to others to make them. This is a drawing for an animation. So it's called Four Walls, and you can see that there's a drawing on tracing paper, which can then be moved and manipulated and gives an atmosphere, but it's then also mapping and planning how you might zoom into things. So it's got all sorts of things about where you might add light, how you might come in close, So it's a drawing, and quite often drawings are really used in animation, underpinning how you might map and storyboard and plan for the different effects to take people through a narrative. This is a drawing for Mirror Stairs, so it's a drawing that is about the construction of a sculpture by Alice Shepherd Fiddler. And there's nothing to stop these being, actually, I've failed to give you the one that's the most beautiful drawing for jewellery, because I didn't have that moment to collect it. If anyone's following on Instagram, you'll see that in there. This is a drawing, it's a digital mapping and coding for a garden design, a planting scheme. So it's giving you the balance of colours through the year and what's planted to give you, so it's coded, but it's actually really helpful in terms of garden design to see how the balance changes. So you've got something that's green all the year through, you've got something that's yellow in January, you've got things that move through to pink or softer colours. So it's using a digital drawing, so a process in order to map out how colour might shift across the year for something. And then this drawing by Dominic Walker, which is much more conventional sections, mapping, planning, but not entirely conventional drawing for a building. So it's a drawing which is an entrance building, a design for that. And it has a mainland forest route. So it's got things around the pathways, where it sits in space and its location, and it's got some sense of its interior design. So more using the language of architecture, not necessarily how it might go off to building control or to the client, but it is definitely got that relationship with the client in terms of the ideation, the design, the drawing, the imagination, becoming converted into planning, which recognizes its influences, but also talks to its structure and mapping, planning, building, and all of those things that go with it. I put those in just to give an idea. It could be in sketchbooks, it can be drawings for objects, it might be digital drawing, it might be hand drawn, it might be annotated, it might be a mix of everything. It's very beautiful drawing by Rachel Arrow, which is also posted on Instagram on thin paper, so on the paper that engineers use in order to have that relationship to machine drawing and design. So there are all sorts of things and all sorts of ways that this might take place, and there are no rules other than the size and the idea that you're proposing this as a working drawing to the panel, who will then have a discussion about what that means. We thought you might like to see this image of Trinity Buoy Wharf, which possibly should have been earlier, but it's a zone image, drone image. And there's the lighthouse in the middle. As you can see, it's a jetty. You can see that the whole site is informed by engineering, by water, by transport, by travel, by creativity, by making, living, all of those things that are so redolent through drawing. So in a sense, the mapping of this, which in itself is a drawing, is a map, or how we get from A to B in our phones. Drawing is this very alive subject, and what we're thinking about is how it's applied to developing design, making, production, transport, engineering. It might be about annotation for science. It can be all sorts of things. Once we've gone through the process and gathered everything together, the launch takes place. As I've said, it's where the awards are. So it's a big launch with all of the activities from the selection, which is very much focused on what drawing is and what drawing can be today, to a drawing that's very focused on how we use working drawings. It doesn't mean that some aren't in the other selection, but it does mean the working drawing section really focuses on that. We have a big awards ceremony the first image is in the Buoy store, which, to go back to the drone, there are these twin stores, the chain store here facing the harbour side, and the Buoy store there with the lighthouse. So those are divided. So the chain store is used as an event space where we do the launch, and the Buoy store is where we do the exhibition. And it's easy to get to because there are boats from Westminster, tubes and overground DLR to Canning Town or to other stops now. It's really enhanced in terms of its accessibility. So the awards are announced on the right. This is a previous Working Drawing Award panel. Tanya Kovacs, Fanny McAuliffe from the King's Foundation Education Hub's lead, and Niall Hobhouse, who's the founder of the biggest architectural drawing collection, I believe, in Europe, which is Drawing Matter, which is recently relocated to London from Somerset. So real experts in drawing and how it's used in all sorts of ways. Award ceremony includes all, so again, you can see a working drawing panel tucked away in here with Andrew Grant from Grant Associates. Trying to see where the others have gone. They're in there somewhere. Caroline Brewer from V&A Dundee, head of programme with the Scotland's Design Museum. And so you can see that you have these panels coming together to look with a lot of expertise around how drawing is used. Once the shows are put together, so the working drawing with the other overall exhibition, we put together public programs, so there might be drawing sessions, events, symposia, things online and in person. We will have an education pack, which always, when we do have one, includes an element of thinking about the working drawings in the show, and we run workshops in there in order to do that. We ran a symposium. So people like Lawrence Wood, who is an architect working in disaster zones, you can see what his working drawings look like there. And actually you can also see Alice Kettle's drawings for embroidery, and Saskia Lewis, who teaches the first year at the London Architecture School. So lots of conversation, because this is the whole purpose of the project, is the dialogue in and through drawing, in order to share knowledge and understanding and the experience of drawing as a very live and active visual language, material language, tacit language that we all use. So just to remind you, the Working Drawing Award as an entry portal, sometimes people find their way to the other one. It's a dedicated one. It's still open until the 17th of July. The overall Trinity Buoy Wharf Drawing Prize project has a dedicated website, which Fiona will have dropped into the chat, and you can follow us on social media through the Instagram accounts on Drawing Project UK and the TBW Drawing Prize. The portal is administered by our project manager, Parker Harris, but under my direction and working very closely with Trinity Buoy Wharf, particularly for this award, because it is absolutely the passion of Trinity Buoy Wharf and Urban Space Management, who operate the site, and that's why we've introduced this exploration within the exploration of drawing to focus on that. So that's an overview and a canter through, which I hope has been helpful. This is an image of only the working drawings, actually, those are not. And you can see that we did have larger drawings last year. What we're trying to do is ensure that we're having a dialogue about the practice of working drawings, not working drawings for the maker, but working drawings that are from the maker, if you like, to others, or that enable that process through. So, for instance, Ben Johnson, our studio assistants, there are all sorts of ways that artists, makers, designers, architects, engineers, scientists work with drawing to convey information to others, and that's really critically what we're interested in. As I've said, it may well indeed include sketchbooks or other things. So it's now your opportunity, and we are a small audience this evening, but we did think it was definitely worth doing to do this. Yes, we will make the recording available, Marie. It might be that we share it. We usually put them up on the YouTube site, but it may be that we give you a direct link if you've followed this. I hope it's been helpful, but please do ask any questions that you have, and we can be on screen if you're happy with that, and we won't share that, or we can just put questions in the chat if you're happy to do that. I'm sure that there will be questions. So it was just the opportunity to update you, to remind you the opportunity is there, that it's open, and for you to have the opportunity to ask any questions that you have. That's brilliant. Thank you, Marie. I'm glad that you'll be able to put your submission in. My top tips are simply about making sure that you've photographed, documented the submission well, particularly for online. We do the other one in the real because the nature of the tacit relationship, the material relationship, is very different, but we recognise that working drawings are quite frequently iterated through an online medium, and it also provides a different way for people to access the opportunity. So that sounds great. So I'm here if there are any questions. We don't need to put them on the recording, or I can just repeat them back on that. I don't know if Fiona, have you got any questions?
No, I think that was a great canter through as usual. We've only got Marie left. A couple of people have left during
That's all
the
good. During the talk,
process,
which is
so
all
yeah.
fine. So
But she's
Marie,
got
if
what
there's
they
anything,
needed.
that's perfect. So Marie, if there's anything else that you want to ask, very happy to take any more questions, but it sounds to me like you're organised, you know what you want to do, and I'm sure that many people are off to fill in their forms and upload their images. So it is 5 o'clock on Thursday. I will, I'm pretty sure you will hear on the 25th, but it might be the 26th. So hoping that has been helpful. I'm really delighted to see you here and wishing you all the very best with your submissions. So thank you. And I'll cough. Brilliant. We like that. Well done, Fiona. You can stop recording.
That was quick. Oh, we stopped it. Yes.